Welcome back to Hytale lore. We're talking about Zone 6 today, the Void. So if you did not know, let's fly over here. This is legitimately the first time I've ever seen it rain in this world before. It's very atmospheric. We've talked about Zone 5. So if you didn't know, 6 planned zones in the game. Currently only 1 through 4 are in the game. Those are the 4 that are represented right here on this little mound, right? We got Emerald Wilds, we got Howling Sands, we got Whisperfrost Frontiers, and we got Devastated Lands. And then Zone 5 would presumably be Zone of Lightning, which we talked about a while ago. All the lightning bits that we have, all the storm bits that we have. We're heading on over to talk about Zone 6. So this would be Zone of the Void. Don't know how it will spawn in the world, don't know how it will look, but we do have a few pre-existing elements that will show up in it that we can check out a little bit. I've set up a bunch of stuff for us, as always, to walk through. These 2 items right here is a Void Heart and a Void Essence. Each of these have a little tooltip for us to investigate. Essence of the Void reads, it's unclear whether creatures of the Void produce this essence, or if its presence is required to sustain their existence. What can be said for certain is that the 2 are inextricably bound. So like all the other essences in the game, the Void creatures drop these. If you've played the game at all, then you've seen this. This is their energy, right? Their connection to the world is through the Void. And then we have the Void Heart, which is a rare drop from Void creatures, which reads, the still beating heart of a greater denizen of the Void. Not all creatures are born of the Void, yet even those taken and corrupted may bear this same shriveled heart. We had a couple interesting things here. First of all, there's a lot of corrupted and poisoned material throughout the world of Orbis. All of it is this purple and green color that is associated with Varen. We even get this like poison volcanic rock that has these little green lines sluicing through it. Poison roots. We have the hive materials where the Scarrick hives have been poisoned. And then we have the poison logs from those kind of corrupted forests in the Devastated Lands. And then, of course, I threw in the purple crystal since it seems to be associated with Varen as well. But the interesting thing that I wanted to point out here is the phrasing, even those taken and corrupted. We've got a Hedera right here. These don't spawn in the game currently, but they are obviously in the files. We can bring them in. They do have animations. They do have attacks. They do this screaming thing. They screech at you. And they look very much like a corrupted Quebec. Now, if I'm not mistaken, we're going to test this out and see if this is correct. They should be the only Void taken that is in this little memory Pokedex. So I'm going to turn myself into exploration mode. And we're going to see if when we get a memory from the Hedera, if it does actually fill in this Void taken one. I've not actually tested this out, so we get to do it together. Do I get a memory from you? Ah, there we go. There we go. Void taken. It does apply. Okay. I could not for the life of me remember who told me that. But whoever it was, thank you. Okay, yeah. So Hedera does count as the one and only Void taken currently in the game. I would have to assume that there will be more of them eventually. And that that's just what we're beginning with right now. Maybe when it's added into the game, it'll come with other Void taken, other creatures that get corrupted. But right now, it looks like a corrupted Quebec. Maybe we'll have other corrupted creatures as well. Corrupted Farron? Corrupted Trork? Who knows? A couple of us were talking about it on the Discord. Almost definitely so. Speaking of which, we have a Discord. If you want to join. And now they're all sprinting. Now we've gone out of render distance and they're all sprinting. Yeah, definitely. There was, what was it? Bright and Farah were both discussing stuff about the Hedera, which this is something they pointed out specifically, that some of these poisoned plants in the game, this is their discovery, not mine. So thank you for finding this stuff. It looks very, very similar, the ends of these plants, to the little purple bits that you get sticking out of the Hedera, which looks really stupid as it's walking like that. Let's maybe, ooh, there we go. Still looks a little bit silly. That's fine. Last thing that I wanted to point out over here. All of these elements are poison, or many of these are poison, right? Poison log. We get these poisoned plants as well. In Zone 4, we do know that there are alchemists who carry around these bottles of poison. I don't know if that is inherently related, but it is interesting that all of these poison blocks are definitely related to Varen and his influence. Like these poison nettles, you find on purple-tinged blocks inside of the oases. So all of these are coming from locations where corruption is occurring. And these guys we know broke away from Gaia, at least towards the end. So, we got our poison bits, we got our lovely Hedera, which I do actually want to test out the scream thing at the end of the video, when I'm not afraid of dying anymore, when we've seen all that we have to see. I'd like to hear it scream. We do have these couple of statues. I just threw them in because there's a good chance that they represent Varen. This one, Outlander Deity, is almost 100% Varen. It has these horn bits on it as well that it seems to be holding that you can see throughout a lot of Varen-coded stuff in the game. Not only these weapons over here that we're going to talk about soon, but also a lot of these Varen creatures, they've got horns. Like this one right here has those swooping horns. This one has the same thing. This one has them in skull form as well. We get the same thing happening over here with whatever this guy's holding. And then obviously the diamond symbol of Varen, which if you played the game at all, you know is associated with him. And then we have the Statue of the Watcher, which is an Outlander deity as well. Some debate whether that is Varen, another god entirely, or maybe it is Gaia, and they don't even know it, and they're just hearing her whispers from her comatose self, wherever she has been stowed away. But whatever the case, we definitely have factions in the game that have some connection to Varen, and we have these void grimoires that exist in the game, as well as these purple crystal staff, which seem to be made from the same purple crystal that the Outlanders use in their void water rituals. We've also got this thing right here. This is called a void invasion portal. Do not believe that this currently exists anywhere in exploration mode. I don't think it spawns, and it is entirely inoperable. It does nothing at all. It's just a particle effect, but obviously you can see the purplish color in the middle associated with Varen as well. We do also have, somewhat related, this. I know it does not look like much, but let me grab where this came from. Void Spawn Platform is what this is called. And it's literally just this single bit of volcanic brick. This is likely some sort of placeholder, but interesting that that is something that exists in the prefab list. Of course, it does nothing currently. It is not functional, but it is there nonetheless. Then we have Onyxium. So I'm going to briefly run back over here. In Zone 5, we talked about an armor set that is not currently in the game, along with an ore set that is not currently in the game. This is Prisma ore, and it's rather limited. This is all that exists, is what you see on the wall right here. That's it. It has this counterpart Onyxium, which kind of looks similar, but is much darker in color, that is almost definitely associated with Varen and the Void, and I would bet planned to be used in Zone 6. Obviously, all that speculation, and we don't know what the game is going to look like until it actually updates that stuff. But we do have these things in the game. These to the side, those are bits of void stone. This would be used to make a golem. All of these little stone things, all of these precious gems in the game seem to be associated with a particular golem. This one would be, I would assume, associated with this guy right over here with the glowing purple eyes. Although I know that he is corrupted, he is still called a void golem. Then we have the Onyxium ingots and ore, which are used to make this armor right here and all of these weapons. I'm going to grab a piece of this armor real quick. I'm going to bring it over here. It looks very, very similar to the coloring that we get on a few of these creatures, like this necromancer right here. Look at the wraps that are on this guy, and I'm going to press this button. See the similar color? Same thing if we go up here to the arms of the Void Eye as well. So it's got a similar color scheme, which makes sense. And then we have all of the weapons over here as well. This is every weapon and tool that exists in the game made out of Onyxium. There's a lot of them. It's a full set. We got the different types of swords, the different types of axes, spears. We have this staff as well, which looks really cool, and a shield. But the one thing that really stood out to me as I was looking at them is they've got all of these little horn shapes that, again, really parallel the little horn that the Watcher holds here and the horns that those void creatures have. So we got the horns here, we got the horns here, we got the horns up there on the Spectre as well, and we have very, very similar shapes on the weapons, like the pommel of the sword here, even the edge of the bow, the pickaxe, all of that stuff. The other thing we see a lot of is moon iconography on these. They're most clear on the swords right here. But you can see them on a few others as well, like this axe also has those little moon symbols. I know that there in the soundtrack is reference to moonlit rituals by the Quebecs and rituals that happen at night by, I believe, the Outlanders, if I'm remembering correctly. I don't know if this has any correlation, if whoever wields these weapons also has some sort of strong relationship to magic that comes from the moon and that they've chosen to represent it in their weapons here. But then that also begs the question, who would be wearing this armor? Is this purely just armor for the players to uncover? Kind of like, you know, you get thorium armor or cobalt armor from different zones right now? Or would there eventually be any NPCs that are planned to wear these armors in different zones? Whatever armor has come from that zone, there might be a race of people who live there as well who wear it. Or maybe an extinct people and some of the skeletons still wear it. I don't know. Food for thought. Or maybe even future NPCs like Tessa and Kairos, I believe, are the human NPCs we know of so far that might wear these eventually too. Regardless, these look super cool and seem poised to be very, very strong as well. We also have these weapons. There's a couple void weapons that we see actually held by creatures in the game. Both of these already spawn. We have the, what are these called? A Wraith. We have a Void Wraith, and we have the Void Spawn right here that carry these weapons. I don't believe that they're weapons that you can obtain. And then we have the Nexus Sword. This does not seem to be a fully operational weapon in the game just yet. I tried it out in the Zone 5 video. It did not really seem to do anything, but it looks very, very cool. And it looks incredibly similar in design to these void weapons that we already have in the game, which really solidly drives home a theory that's been held in the community for a while, not just by myself, which is that there is this Alterverse in the game, which is the idea that there are 4 other planned planets aside from the world of Orbis that you will eventually be able to go visit. One of those is Nexus, a very purplish looking planet. You can go look up the art for this if you want to, or it's on previous lore streams and videos as well. But this is a Nexus sword. Nexus is a planet that people have long believed is associated with Varen and the Void. Maybe Varen is the avatar of that planet, just how you are the avatar of your own Hytale worlds that you create. It looks so similar to the Void Spawn's weapon, to these void scythes as well, that it seems undeniable at this point that Varen's creatures have come from that other planet, and that they're using things like these portals in order to break into the world of Orbis. And then that makes me wonder what shape Zone 6 will actually take. Maybe it will be just smatterings of corruption throughout the entire world, kind of like we already have the corrupted forest and we have corrupted bits of the oases and so on. Maybe it will be expansions on that and those areas will grow. Or maybe it will be a whole region of Orbis completely corrupted by the Void's presence and full of these sorts of creatures. Maybe we'll even get to see little bits of their own civilizations like they might have back in the world of Nexus, now built in their conquest in the world of Orbis as well. Really, really excited to see things like that in the game eventually. But we will have to be patient. We will have to wait. It does bring me to the Wraith. We've talked about the Wraith a little bit, particularly in the Zone 4 Ancient Humans video, because they walk around the devastated lands, which makes a lot of sense. They look like a Grim Reaper, and a lot of people died in the devastated lands. They're devastated. I'm a little bit torn about these guys, though, because before, I'd posited that they had something to do with Gaia, but they definitely have a void weapon. Here's the thing, okay? we got these different types of fire in the game. This is a dark temple fire, right? So it's got the green fire. This color is associated with Varen. Same sort of green as we get, for example, with these poisoned reeds, or as we get in the staff right here, or as we get on the void weapons, or in the eyes of some of these void creatures as well. Then we get Lost Civilization fire. So these are things that you would be able to find, I believe, in Zone 3, if I'm not mistaken. And it's got a slightly greenish blue fire. And I was like, okay, these people are somewhat associated with Varen. Maybe this is the fire that's going on in the Wraith. But no, it's not. The fire is very clearly the same as the Light Temple fire. Like, it's not even... There's no chance that it's either of these. It's got the exact same colors. And you get like the dark blue, almost purple at the very ends of it that are coming off. Same thing beneath there. I mean, these colors are the same as the trim of the robe, but the rest of it is very clearly the Gaia fire. And I'm like, what's going on with these guys? They must come from the void, but the fire is the same as the Gaian temple fire? That doesn't make a single bit of sense. Or maybe it's like some crossover where it has elements of both the void and of Gaia, and its job is just to tend to the dead of both, whether they've worshipped Gaia or Varen. Then it's just indiscriminate. I don't know. I don't know. What I do know, though, is that whenever the scythes come to the game, they got some wicked animations. Look at this. I need these now. They look so cool. Anyways, I'm getting distracted. We're going to throw these back into the chest here. There's a couple of the things that I wanted to check on. One of which is this void golem right here. Purely for the fact that this block that we have, these poison, what are they? Poisoned roots? Poisoned roots. These happen in the Scarrick hives, which do seem to be corrupted by Varen's presence, and I think even more so considering that this design looks very much like what's going on in the middle of this guy's torso. Whatever's happened in the hives has also happened to this guy here. The other interesting thing is that the pattern of corruption here also matches the pattern that we get on the Outlander Brute, which we know something happens to this guy inside of those magic water pools inside of Zone 3. And the pattern here is very, very similar, with the changed eyes and then the, what is that? The left arm having been changed in both. Lastly, and this is also something that we pointed out before, but worth mentioning again now so that it's all coherent, is that this necromancer right here, look at the little hands, the little tips of his fingers and the coloring here. It looks very, very similar to the Spectre. And then the Spectre's head, of course, looks very similar to the Varen spawn. And the Varen spawn's horns, of course, look very similar to the Outlander Brute's horns. And it's interesting because it does really give the impression of these void-like creatures gradually, I mean, not just corrupting the world of Orbis, but making the world of Orbis in their own image, making it look like them, making it work like them, giving it their own powers. To what end is the question? Is there something wrong in Nexus that people are trying to escape? Is Varen just after power and his servants are helping him on that mission? We do not know. And then lastly, we have the Void Dragon, which does not have any animation right now, does not spawn anywhere in the game, but looks so cool and also looks undead. There's a lot of theories that people have had about the undead in the game and why they're undead, and if that's a fault of Varen or Gaia or something else. This is clearly like some necromantic reanimated dragon, though, and that makes me wonder if this guy right here has been involved in the process, since he is in the game files called a necromancer. Neither of these have any animation, but I wouldn't be surprised if there is a relationship there. I do, before we go, I want to try out the Hedera, okay? You're about to be free. Successfully thawed. All right, buddy. Come at me. See the scream? Okay, that didn't last long. We did not last long at all. Oh, and we're in the Gaia Temple. That's nice. That's very sweet. That's everything that we know so far about the Void and the Zone 6 Void Zone coming eventually to the game. If you enjoyed this, we do also have a main channel for building. And at the time that this comes out on YouTube, there will also be a poll ready for the next video, the next lore video for next week. We've also been invited into Mine's upcoming creator SMP, so we will be in there sometime soon-ish. It's not launching just yet, but very excited to see how that goes, and I will see you guys soon. Happy hightailing, you guys.